Hi, everybody. It's Mimi from Empower Yourself, Be Heard, Empower Yourself. Um, I'm a little thrown because I usually have women guests, but I have a gentleman today. And a lot of times I do have gentlemen, but not that often. And he is very impressive gentleman. Um, his name is David Cunningham. Hello, David. See,
Hello, Mimi. So wonderful to be with you and to everybody listening and watching.
yes, and we're diving into a conversation today that feels both timely and timeless. And that conversation is about love and the quiet power each of us carries to transform the world around us. And most of us don't think we have that power. But our guest, David Cunningham, he's the author of Your Love Does Matter, a journey to a new consciousness and expanding your love footprint. I love the title. His work invites us to remember something we often forget in the noise of daily life, our relationship, our communities, and even our sense of self. So, David, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be with you. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to get right into this because this is a really important topic. Can you share a bit about maybe your early life and what awakened your calling to dedicate your life to transformation?
Mhm. Well, very early in life, I'll go way back. Okay.
Only 45
I'm,
minutes though.
I'm 74 now, so I'm going to go 70 years ago to 4 years old,
All
right?
right. Okay.
I was raised in a Christian home in a small town in Western New York State. And one night, my family took me to church, and it was a candlelight service, which I'd never seen before. We went to a really small little church, but the whole sanctuary was lit just by candles. And the whole service, believe it or not, Mimi, was a artist painting a picture of Jesus on a velvet background. Have you ever seen a painting on a velvet background?
Yes.
Usually they sell them on the highways as a picture of Elvis
Yes.
Presley
Yes.
or a tiger or something. This was Jesus with children on a velvet background. And in my 4-year-old eyes, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. But
Yes.
I think it was my first, I would say it was my first encounter with my own soul because as I watched this painting being done, I was overtaken by the presence of Jesus's love for the children. And I remember saying to myself, I love that much. I love that way. That's how much I love people. I think it was my first encounter with my own soul, quite frankly.
Mhm.
I was at 4, and then, life happened. And my family, my beautiful family, my dad, a few years later, turned violent. And I'm still to this day not sure why, but our household became quite a violent household, actually.
Mm.
So that loving family I thought I had turned out not to be,
I love it.
yeah. And
Mm.
then my nuclear family moved away from our larger family. We moved out of that small town, and I thought, how could that be? Because we were leaving, we were supposed to. This is the people we loved. Or how could we just like drive
Right.
away? Right?
Exactly.
And then I came out as a gay man in my late teens and early 20s, and I was told my love was unacceptable, and
Very difficult in that time frame, too.
yeah, yeah,
Decade.
yeah. And then, as a professional, I was trained to, you know, keep your love, you gotta be professional, not loving, right? So it was a message of the day. So by the time I was a young adult, that love that I knew I had, I'd pretty much put it way in the background, talked myself out of it, and it wasn't what life was about. And then
Yeah.
I did my own first transformational program. It was called the S Training. I did that in 1983, which was a real awakening for me. I think it was a weekend program, and I just remember the last day of the program. It was a room of like 300 people in a hotel ballroom in New York City, and I just remember looking around all of a sudden, and there was these 300 people from all over the world, very diverse group, but everybody was accepting and loving everybody in the room. And it was like, oh my gosh, I knew the world could work this way. Like, oh,
Yeah.
the world really could work this way. Like everybody accepting everybody. It was very moving for me. And
Uh-huh.
then it's so moving that I went on to get myself trained to lead that program, and I led that program for 30 years around the world.
What
But then,
was the program? What was it called?
in the days I led it, it was called the Landmark Forum. And when I first did it, it was called the EST training. But when I led it,
Oh, yes, I've heard of this. Yeah,
yeah.
now I know you're going. Okay.
But then it
Controversial.
morphed into the Landmark Forum, and I led that for 30 years for
Yeah,
several hundred thousand people around the world.
yeah,
But then I also met a spiritual guru. Her name is Saima, Saimaa.
yeah,
Eight, 8 years later. And what Saima did for me was she touched my heart and gave me permission to just love again. Like not be embarrassed by it, not question it, just love again. And that was a real awakening. And so ever since then, in the last couple of decades, my life has been on a path of, okay,
yeah.
my love does matter, our love does matter. Let's have love prevail. So I've dedicated the next 30 years of my life to love prevailing as the preeminent way of being on the planet. And I'm serious about it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get this done.
I know
Right?
you're. I'm going to stay into your private life because I know it's about this.
Okay.
And we're close in age. And I know for a fact, like 50s, 60s, 70s, you did not tell people you were gay. That was, you didn't, you were closeted at most.
Didn't
And
exist. I
um,
didn't even know it existed.
that wasn't talked about. Men that were gay got married to women and had children. I believe my father was gay.
Oh,
And I have that in my first book, Why, and the
mhm,
different things.
mhm,
And of course he would be because he was in that decade.
mhm,
And even afterwards, well, of course, then he had AIDS,
mhm,
which didn't help the cause of it being okay, you
mhm,
know. And finally, when it did become okay, it's still not okay. I mean, there's a lot of, I know a lot of different religious people, different religions, and some of them are like outraged by it. And some of them are like, well, whatever, they're still like, um, so when did you, if you did, I guess you did because we're talking about it, when did you finally come out and say, the hell with it? It's okay. People can know I'm gay.
It was I had taken that path where I had been married because I married a extraordinary woman. Her name's Pat, and she and I had a child together. In fact, I'm in Connecticut where my son lives. I'm visiting him and his family right now. So
Yeah.
we're in Connecticut, visiting my son and my grandchildren, which is wonderful. But I was already married, had a child, um, but uh, had started. I got invited by one person and started having gay encounters, which was, in those days, first off, I was horrified with myself and, you know, ashamed of it. But it was the first, to answer your question, there was a point where, for the very first time, this one man, I would only see a man once, and it was so horrifying. I would say never see again. But this one man was persistent, and I started seeing him, and it was horrible because I was lying to my wife and hiding from my wife, just really not
Mhm.
good
But
at
you
all.
wanted to be with him.
I fell in love with him, and I didn't
Oh,
know you could do that. I
oh,
didn't know you could do that.
oh, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
knew you could fall in love with a man. I didn't know that,
No.
and it was shocking for me. And it was, oh, this is what people are talking about. Like, all my college friends, as they got married as well, and we'd get together and they'd talk about being in love, and I'd listen to them like something's missing for me, right? Like it's not quite. And then I fell in love with this man, and it was, oh, and then it seemed to me it wasn't, but it seemed like a life and death decision. Like
Oh,
it wasn't, of course, but it seemed that way. Like, am I going
let's
to?
blow up your life,
Yeah,
actually.
exactly.
Oh,
So that's when I came out and told my wife, told my family, and dealt with all of the consequences of that. But that was way back in, that would have been 1976, I guess.
okay, still early. and
Uh-huh.
the evolution of acceptance. And my minister, who is gay, he was brought up in an I can't say evangelical church. How do you
Mhm.
say that?
Evangelical. Hmm.
Thank you. Evangelical church. And of course, they were against gays. And he loved the church and he wanted to be a minister. And he went to ministerial school. And after a while, they realized he was gay and they kicked him out. So this man, handsome, very handsome, it was back in the 70s. He moved to New York City, became an actor and a dancer. He was in Broadway plays. He was on Law and Order, not big roles, but he got work, for many, many years. And he was alcoholic. And one day he went to this church called Unity. And I don't know if you're familiar with that church, but there's a lot of famous writers that, came out of that church. And he was stunned. He didn't understand a word they were saying. He just knew that it felt right. Okay. And he became a non-denominational minister, moved to Florida, married someone who was also a gay minister,
Hmm.
which is interesting. And that person died. And Taylor is now our minister. And his second husband, Donald, who he was married to for 12 years, just died a couple weeks ago.
Oh dear. Hmm.
And we just had the memorial. And you would have sobbed through the whole thing because the people talked about the love between them.
Hmm.
Okay. And the love they had, heterosexual couples do not have this kind of love. You
Hmm.
know, I'm getting chills. So I can understand exactly how you felt.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
And it's just such a coincidence. I had to throw that in there
Yeah,
because,
appreciate that.
yes, yes.
So I then I had my first husband who also he then ended up dying of AIDS in
Now,
1980.
he's the man that you fell in love with.
No, it's somebody else. All right.
Okay, so now let's backtrack. So when you told your family about this first man, the one that brought it out in you, um, how did your wife take it?
I, not to,
Not well.
well, within 8 hours, she was packed with the baby and gone.
Well,
So
yeah, of course.
it was an immediate departure. And I have no criticism of her for that.
Oh,
None
no, of
whatsoever.
course not. Either way, you can't have any control over people's feelings. And your parents,
At first, at the first couple years, they're very, very argumentative, negative, and we actually, I stopped having contact with them for a couple years.
yeah,
But it was when I did that first program, that as training, it was a time where I reached out to them and went home and got in communication with them. And from that point forward, we really did. To say we mended the bridges doesn't state it. It became an extraordinarily loving family again. And my
good.
mom, who's 99 today, my
Yeah.
dad's deceased, but my mom, who's 99 today, is I've been with my current husband now for 31 years, and I swear she loves him more than she loves me. So,
That experience too. Again, an aside, uh, my husband, we're together since 1987, but I tell people he's my third husband. And they go, what? Well, I'm with him 37, what is it, 38 years. So that means it was them, not me, first two. And it was. And because I was young, I was in my 20s, I didn't make good decisions. I had no life skills because I had terrible parents. They didn't teach me anything. So, and I bring that up because I didn't know real love either,
Mhm.
what it looked like, what it was supposed to feel like, or anything. And my husband, I could say this without confirmation. It's gonna sound strange. He loves me more then I am possible of love.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
you can wrap your head around that, I can see his love and I aspire to have that kind of love. It's
Hmm.
not that I don't love him, but he has the type of love that you're talking about.
Hmm.
Okay. So I just want to get our little synchronicities in there because that's what makes this so interesting.
Yeah.
So, you met your second, well, love, I say love, your husband who died of AIDS.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was an awful time. And where did you meet him? Where were you living?
I in New York City at the
Yeah,
time,
of
and
course.
I met him.
That's where it was the worst.
I
Mhm.
heard him speak first. I heard him speak. He was leading a workshop of sorts, and I heard him speak, and I was immediately struck by his presence, his vibrancy, his brilliance, the power of his voice, and uh, just really remarkable. And when I think of it today, he died when he was 29, so he'd be almost 69 today, right? It was that long ago that he died, right?
Yeah,
I think about him, I think, wow, that he was so young. Didn't seem it at the time. We were adults, right? But
you were
he,
a teenager
he was 29 when he died, and
when he died, but you were together how many years?
he and I were together 7 years. Yeah, so
Okay, so he was 22 when you got together. Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
so,
still young to be that.
and yeah, just imagine what he would have accomplished with his life, and if he had these 40 years to live. But he was an extraordinary young man, but he passed away in 1988. Yeah.
Mhm. Amazing. So, I assume that he was a great influence on you. And what else got unlocked with these first
He
men?
was unabashed, by the way. That was the great thing about him. He was not embarrassed about anything. Not he was unabashedly, um, uh, openly loving, caring, outspoken, and
Yeah.
so I really discovered my own courage. And then when in the taking care of him as he died, I found a depth again of my love that
Uh,
I didn't even know existed. As I went through that
yes.
process of him passing. I found
Yes.
the depth of my strength and the depth of my love. So I emerged from that, knowing myself in a new way, as knowing myself as someone who loved again profoundly and had a strength and a courage. That's when I really started, being a public speaker on gay and lesbian issues at that time, right? And that's back
Yeah,
in those days. And
that's fabulous.
yeah, I remember, we used to go to a different church or a different school, many nights of the week and just talk about what it is to be gay. Because in those days, it was a foreign topic for
And
people,
it
right?
was dangerous. And it still is. Let's be honest.
I remember doing my first outdoor gay rights speech and walking up on the platform. And as I was about ready to walk up, it was on the steps of the old state capitol building in Hartford, Connecticut. And as I walked up onto the platform, the police stopped me and said, "You shouldn't go up there. We can't protect you," right? And but I did, and it was again a real turning point in being not not like argumentative. It wasn't that. It was being. I knew that people didn't understand, so it was, let's just get the message out. Let's go and form people. Let's.
It became your mission at the time. And
At the time, it was wrapped in the gay and lesbian topic, and then now it's love and it's
it evolved,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So, a lot of people, oh, let me backtrack. What does your love does matter? Why is that the title of your book? Your love does matter.
I really would like us as a society. I'm committed that love prevails on the planet. Okay, so for that to happen, I was looking for how could I talk about this in a way. I didn't want to write a book about love,
Yeah.
'cause you can read a book about leadership and not end up a leader. You can read a book about being effective and not end up effective. So I didn't want to write a book about love that left people, you know. So I wanted to write a book that engaged people in discovering their own love. and then living from it fully. And so that's the why the book and the title of the book. And then I really wanted to create this distinction of a love footprint. You know how are talking about we have a carbon footprint? Yes. And I'd also like us to consider we have a love footprint. In other words, every time we leave an interaction, whether it's a 30-second interaction with a clerk in a store, it's
Yes.
a 2-hour lunch with our family, it's working side by side with a colleague for a year, every time we leave, what do we leave behind? That's a good question, isn't it? Do we leave behind righteousness or judgment or argument or
Well,
indifference? Or
right now,
do we in fact leave love behind?
we are not leaving, I won't say we, but a lot of people are not leaving a carbon love footprint. They are manifesting hatred.
Mhm.
And a lot of leadership of the world. It's a very scary time for me.
Mm.
I I belong to that class like you, you know, women, people of color, gays, we are marginalized.
Mhm.
Okay, we are discriminated against, and that happened for me since I was a young girl. I noticed it right away. You know, I got an A in a accounting course once. I did finally go to college,
Mhm.
and it was a Jesuit college, very good school, University of Scranton, and they had just turned co-ed. It had always been just men, and the girls went to Marywood. So I was in that school, and I was in a class. There was only two women in the class. It was all like 20 some guys. And the professor said, only one person got an A on the final exam. And it was a girl. That was like a backhanded compliment, if you
Wow.
know what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How dare you? But that's how the thinking was about women. We're less than. And gays are, they're like sinful. I
Mhm.
mean, this is a lot of people think this. It's in the Bible, and I'm like, show me where it's in the Bible. Like, actually, show me where a man cannot love a man. Show
Mhm.
me that, and then they get quiet, you know. But and it's happening. It's like we're going back to the '60s, David. I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of things are being done politically.
That's why I started a project called Love Goes to the Capitol. Okay.
That's where I was going.
So I sent a copy of my book to every member of Congress and the president and the vice president. All right.
Yeah.
And we're starting a project in Pennsylvania, where I live, where we're going to, starting in early next year in February or March, we're going to start going to the Capitol in Harrisburg every week and just do an act of love. No political talk, just an act of love. So one week we're going to take up, first week we're going to take up a group of formerly incarcerated men that I've been working with, and they're
Yeah.
going to deliver an orchid to every legislator.
This is crazy. I'm
Next,
from Pennsylvania,
are you? Yeah, great.
from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where President Biden was born.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yes. And that tickles me. Then another coincidence.
So then the second week, we're going to take up a group of trans teenagers up, and they're just going to open the doors for legislators. No political talk whatsoever, just bring love. The third week, we're going to take a group of moms on food assistance programs up, and they're going to deliver a letter of acknowledgement to every legislator, regardless of their voting record, regardless of what they stand. It doesn't matter. We're going to go bring love to the Capitol. I'm committed that if we do that for a year, every week we go up, and for a year, we just bring love. It's got to alter the ethos and the thinking and the creativity. So I'm really pleased to have this project called Love Goes to the Capitol.
Oh, I know. I was reading about it. It's very excited. And even if you change the minds of one person, it's something, because that's what happens.
Well, it's very important that, and I create this in when I sent the book to the Congress people and the senators and the president, I sent a video with it, and I said, this is not a moralistic message, like you should be more loving. And it's also not a Pollyannish message called, wouldn't it be nice if we're more loving?
Yeah.
This is a message about being a great, effective leader fulfilled by your leadership. You know, the greatest leaders that have taken our breath away, inspiring us, the Mahatma Gandhis, the Dr. Kings, have been the leaders that refused not to love. They just refused not to love. And that's been the greatest leaders in the history of humankind. So
And
this is
all of those leaders have been murdered. I mean, back to Jesus. Jesus was teaching love, whether you believe he was Son of God or just a man. He still was trying to teach that, and they killed him for it. And all of the leaders, except for who's the one that was silent? I want to say Mahatma Gandhi. I'm not sure.
silent.
He didn't really. He wasn't like, oh, he's making speeches. He
Uh,
just was silent, but he was present.
mhm.
Anyway, they all were killed. Martin Luther King was killed. I mean, it's really sad when things like that happen. You're trying to teach love, and some human being out there is against it to the point where they kill the speaker.
It's hard.
Wow,
It
you
is.
have a big job,
It is hard to understand, isn't it? It
isn't
is.
it?
But
Have you heard from anybody in Congress or the White House or
just if a couple of Congress, we're in communication with a couple of congressmen, and we're following up with our phone calls right now. So part of the project is just beginning. So I intend to be in communication, direct communication with people.
so you did have somebody respond to acknowledge they got the book.
Yeah, and
That was
it's a new message about love. It's not one of the things also important, Mimi, is to have people begin to be able to relate to love as a way of being versus an emotion, a feeling, or a thought process. You know,
exactly.
mostly traditionally, people have related to love as I feel love or I don't, or
Yes.
I have loving thoughts or I don't.
Hmm.
There's a predicament with that, which is that our feelings and our thoughts, we don't have any control over.
No,
So if our love is based in feelings and thoughts and we don't have any control over them, then it leaves us somewhat fickle, right? Like, oh, okay, I feel like I love you today, and let's hope I feel that way tomorrow, right?
don't piss me off.
But
Oh gosh.
if we consider there's another domain of life, there's our thoughts, our feelings, but there's also a way of being. So
Mhm.
we can, as human beings, if we notice, we can be generous or we can be stingy. We can be
Exactly.
tender, we can be cold. We can be
Yes.
respectful, disrespectful. And that way of being is up to us.
Exactly. It is.
We
Exactly.
don't have control over our thoughts and our feelings, but we do have a say about who we be.
Yeah.
If we relate to love as a way of being, and we get that, oh, we have a choice about being loving, no
Yeah.
matter what thoughts we have, no matter what emotions we have,
Yeah.
we still have a say about we could be loving. I think it's that'll be a really important step for us to take as a society to start relating to love as a way of being, which gives us a say about it.
All right. Let's jump to a difficult one for me. Forgiveness.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Now, the father of my two children, I won't go into all his defects. There were many. And but the biggest thing was he did not support the children after we got divorced. And I know that happens a lot. So I got no child support.
Mhm.
But worse than that, he would not recognize the divorce. So he acted as if I was still his wife, his possession. And for 2.5 years, I had to run from him. I had to try to get help from the police. I had to physically fight back,
Mhm.
all the while putting myself through college, existing on macaroni and cheese or whatever I could stretch out the food stamps.
Mhm.
And I feel like through my journey to where I was, I have forgiven everyone, but it
Mhm.
is extremely hard for me to do that. I try. What do you think about that? That one person.
Yeah. All right. Well, two things about it. One is, again, you may not ever feel forgiving, or it
Okay.
may not ever make sense like to forgive him. It just doesn't make sense given what he did.
No.
But if you get forgiveness is again a way of being, it doesn't, you don't have to feel it, it doesn't have to make sense. And it's for you, it's not for him. See, what forgiveness is forgive. I give my love like I did before anything happened. So it's a choice a human being makes. Doesn't have to make sense. And you don't have to worry when you forgive somebody. Sometimes we worry like it excuses what they did or it
Yeah.
condones what they did or gives them permission to do it again. No, it doesn't do any of that. All forgiveness does is it gives you a life. I'm going to live a resentful life or I'm going to live a loving life. It's my
Yes.
life. When
I
I,
live a loving life
yeah.
because people that did not know me, I'm in Florida 21 years.
Mhm.
So the book came out 5 years ago. And people that only knew me from Florida read the book and they went, how are you this person? You are loving, you're happy every day, you're always making people laugh, you're a good person. You should be a bitter old woman.
Mhm.
You know, and
Exactly.
I mean, so that kind of, underscores your point,
Yeah,
right?
you made your choice about
I chose to be who I am.
did, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
You gave yourself your life, which is your power. You could say our birthright as human beings. We give ourselves our lives by our choice about who we be. So
Yeah,
forgiveness is I choose being loving. That
yes.
doesn't mean I accept sorry, it doesn't mean I approve of what you did. It doesn't mean I condone what you did. It doesn't mean I give you permission to do it anymore. It just means I am not going to resent you because for me, leading a resentful life it does not serve me.
No, it hurts you.
Yeah, very
Hurts you. So, what kind of transformational programs do you adhere to or practice?
well. I lead one now. I created one. I was really happy to do, right? So I created a program I'm calling The Awakening, and I just started it last year. I'm going to do it I have it 10 scheduled for this year in several cities around North America and Mexico and on a cruise ship, believe it or not. I'm going to do it once on a
Oh,
cruise.
I love it. What cruise ship?
But
Now?
it's a cruise from Los Angeles to Mexico and back, a
Oh,
7 night cruise ship.
wonderful. I wish it was on the other side of the coast
But
or
the
any
point is, I really worked. I was committed. There was a place where a spiritual awakening would cross paths with a transformational discoveries, right?
Yes.
And there's a place where those two worlds could come together, spiritual awakening and transformational discoveries. And I really think I've done it. I've brought the two worlds together with really something new that the
Wow.
I had to say the subtitle for the program is called The Anointment of Self as Source.
Oh,
So,
my minister would love you. I'm going to have to send him a copy of this.
okay, great. At any rate, the point is it's who we relate to ourselves as, Mimi.
Hmm.
It's- And that's so when you ask what kind of transformational programs do I adhere to, it's ones in which any program that gives a human being a chance to choose who they relate to themselves as. Like, I can relate to myself as this body. I can relate to myself as these characteristics about me. I can relate to myself as my emotions, my thoughts, or I can relate to myself as love. I can relate to myself as light. I can relate to myself as source. And it's important for people to we got educated to
Yeah.
relate to themselves one way. You know, you got taught you were a girl, right? And you got educated in that. And you're a girl and you have these characteristics. And here's what's good about you. Here's what's bad about you. Here's what's right or wrong, right about you. Here's what's wrong about you.
Mhm.
You got educated in that. And so to be able to step out of that education and get, wait a minute,
I'm not those things, right? Yeah.
choice about who I relate to myself
Yes.
as.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to relate to myself as, and I think for people, the thing I've discovered, there's no more empowering relationship one can have with oneself than relating to oneself as source, as
That
create.
is what my spiritual community teaches.
Hey, there we go.
We don't even call ourselves a church, we call ourselves a spiritual community because we have people that were raised Jewish, Muslim, Protestant, Catholic, and they come to the church because our message is love. That
Yay.
is our message. If you're ever in West Palm Beach, you'll have to stop by.
Wonderful. You and
Love.
I are meeting on very parallel paths here, aren't
Oh, I
we?
can't, every word strikes a chord with me. So
Yeah.
right now, and this fits into the interview and what's going on in my life. My minister's grieving the loss of his husband.
Mhm.
So, what kind of practice when you face a challenge like that, conflict, heartbreak, break, something big like that? What practices help you in facing that?
Well, that brings us to acceptance. So there's forgiveness, then there's also acceptance, which is its own topic.
Mm,
And people have a hard time with acceptance because they think acceptance means somehow they're saying something's okay or like it's okay that the
yeah.
person, well, that would be a silly thing to say, right? So acceptance isn't approving of something, or acceptance isn't saying something's okay. Acceptance is having something be exactly what it is. So a silly analogy would be, let's suppose it's raining outside. If I accept that it's raining outside, I'm not saying it's okay that it's raining,
Yeah,
simply saying it's raining.
it's a fact, right? Yeah.
And I'm relating to what's actually happening as what's happening. And then that lets me live intelligently. I'll take an umbrella. Do you understand? So acceptance, if people could not worry that acceptance makes something okay, acceptance has something be what it is.
And
That's
something that you said made me think of the fact that human beings, including myself, we often feel the need to know why something is happening. And my example will be someone in my family that I was very close to has done this 180 and turned on me and won't talk to me and totally it's unbelievable. And I spent months crying and angry and trying to figure out why. And my psychologist kept saying, it doesn't matter why. You may never know why.
Mhm.
And that's what I was getting while you were talking.
So first off, I'm sorry that happened for you.
Yeah,
You can
it's
imagine.
still ongoing.
And I would be right there with your psychologist, right? We
Yeah,
don't know. We'll never know why. Why is all made up. We don't know. We don't know why
it
anything
doesn't
happens.
matter.
Quite
It,
frankly, it's all made up. We don't know why the sun rises. We don't know why the sun sets. We don't know why,
no,
right? So
mm-mm,
yeah, it's not a useful, you
no,
know, endeavor. But acceptance would be this person isn't talking to me. And now let's go back to your clergy members
mhm, mhm,
partner dying, right? Husband dying is, none of us, we would pray that didn't happen.
yeah,
So it's important also to get a difference between grieving and suffering. See, we can grieve and not suffer, or we can grieve and suffer. When my husband died, first I grieved and suffered.
mm,
Why? Is because when we add the shouldn't be to it. Like I'm grieving and I shouldn't be grieving.
mhm,
Then we're no longer grieving, we're suffering.
I got you.
Sad and I shouldn't be sad. Versus when we have grieving be grieving and leave off the part called and it shouldn't be this way, then we'll grieve. And I found when I discovered that for myself, then I was able to grieve and found grieving actually to be also an expression of my love and so I was able to express love through grieving and didn't suffer with it anymore.
That's very good for me to hear because, um, taking care of my husband right now, and he like stage 4 is getting serious because he can't dress himself. I help
Mhm.
with that, and after a certain time of day, he can't communicate, and he's getting a little dementia.
Mhm.
And I am like a soldier because of what I went through with my first two husbands and my upbringing. I'm like a soldier. So I do what has to be done every day. I just get
Mhm.
up and do it. Doesn't matter if I'm hurting.
Mhm.
I mean, I just had a shoulder replaced and a pacemaker put in all in the last few weeks. but I'm going to take care of my husband.
Still
So
the
the
caretaker all the way through it, right?
yeah.
Yes.
And so something was going on. And I said to the psychologist, I said, "Oh, I know. I'm in going through stages of grief." She said, "Oh, no, you're not going through stages of grief. You are already grieving. You're already grieving." And when she said that, a light bulb went on
Mhm.
because I thought, "Oh, I am.
Mhm.
I'm just not labeling anything or going into it because I'm doing all these things, daily things to take care of him."
Yes.
That makes sense, right?
It certainly makes sense. It certainly.
Yeah. So this is great. Great
I found, by the way,
conversation.
Mimi, if I could, one other thing I found, I have a simple practice that I'm surprised often how often simple it is and how it works out is I bring things to the heart. So if I have something that's troubling me, I hold out my hands in front of me, right?
Hmm.
And then I actually close my eyes and I imagine holding it in my hands,
Okay.
like anger or upset or
Mhm.
sadness
Right.
or a resentment or an opinion about somebody. Okay. And
Right.
sometimes I imagine holding the person I'm resenting in my hands. All right.
Okay. Mhm.
And then with my eyes closed, I slowly bring it to my heart and place whatever that concern is in my heart. And I find that it dissolves, like resentment dissolves in the heart, anger dissolves in the heart,
Mhm.
sadness dissolves there, and it then gets held in love. So that simple exercise of bringing things to the heart actually
Yes.
is so simple and yet so powerful, I find.
Yes. He sounds just like my minister. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, he
That
has
are
the same
trained in by
message.
my guru Saima, by the way. The Saima is the one that
Oh,
in
yeah.
that. So, yeah.
So Reverend Taylor Stevens, that's my minister, and he has a blog, and he's starting. I think he's starting a podcast, but the way he's doing it, hard to find. He won't let me be his PR person because
Oh,
I'm too gung ho. No, he knows I have enough on my plate. So anyway, this has been fantastic.
great.
Finally, if you could leave our listeners with just one invitation for their own life, what would it be?
Well, I would invite people. I founded this nonprofit called the Love Matters Collaboration, right? And I'm inviting people to join it. And what's that? So the membership costs nothing. It'll never cost anything. Because I'm committed that people from all over the world, anybody in the world could join the collaboration. And when you join, you don't pay anything. What you do is you sign a pledge to expand your love footprint.
I
So
love
when you join the
that.
collaboration, it says, yes, I pledge to ever expand my love footprint wherever I go, whoever I'm with, whatever I'm doing.
Well, keep going in Washington, please.
Okay, good. So if people wanted to join the collaboration, they could go to our website at yourlovedoesmatter.com.
Yeah,
And whether they join the collaboration or not, the invitation is to bring to your consciousness that you have a love footprint and be engaged in expanding your love footprint.
I absolutely loved this interview. It was wonderful. And David, thank you for sharing your wisdom and your truth, you know, your unwavering commitment to reminding us that love is not just something we feel, that it's something we choose,
Mhm.
okay,
Absolutely.
and that we can embody love and
Mhm.
offer it to the world. That's a very powerful message. And all of your websites, et cetera, will be in the show notes so people can listen to you again. I will be joining the Love Collaboration, definitely.
Okay.
And yeah, and remember that every my guys listening, my gals listening, that love has impact and your present carries weight. And the smallest loving action can shift more than you realize. So, David, again, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. Wonderful.
All right, everybody, let's go get some love out there.